Welcome back to In the Gray Area with Rev Health. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Travin.
And today's guest is a powerhouse of resilience, faith, and leadership. Tania is an executive director, too, with the Wellness Company, an immigrant who has built a thriving life here in the U.S. through hard work, determination, and her trust in God's plan. She's a devoted wife to a law enforcement officer, a loving mother to 4, and a woman who wears many hats with grace and grit. Her story is one of courage, purpose, and unwavering belief. And I know it's going to inspire you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be on.
So a little bit of kind of the background between you and I. We originally met through Eric on like one of his mastermind like workshops he had, where he had talked about, I think, both of us during that. And you caught my eye right away. And I was like, okay, who is this lady? You're always talking about politics and also some of the things that we can relate to in regards to like clean products, endocrine disruptors and whatnot. So I think I started following you and reaching out, and we were kind of chatting back and forth a little bit, maybe for a couple months. And then you took a vacation, I think, up here last summer.
Yes. Yes, that's the first time we met.
Yeah, which was crazy because I think...
Was that last summer? Or was it 2 summers ago?
No, that was just last summer.
Last summer? Wow.
Yeah. I think it was like in July or August, wasn't it?
Yes, it was right in the beginning of August. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Correct.
It was crazy. You two had like planned this, and I remember like me and Tony, Tanya's husband, were like, who are we going to meet? We were both like, who are you guys bringing us to meet? Like total strangers, and just meet up. And that was fun. We had a good time.
We drugged them into Crafted to meet our social media friends.
Yes, but it was worth it because look at us now.
I know. It was great. So you've been working with us, I think now, going on like 10 months?
I don't know how long it has been. Probably longer than 6 months now.
I think you started working with us like in October. Maybe you can kind of just tell us a little bit about some of the symptoms that you were feeling before you started working with us.
So my biggest complaint was fatigue. I was like a toddler at my age. I'm 40. I'm going to be 43 next month. So being 40, almost 42 last year, I was just struggling with literally needing a nap in the middle of the day, just always tired. No, really, I was working out, but it was just kind of like I have to work out, not I was excited to work out. And it just kind of bled into my entire life as like a mom and a wife, constant fatigue. I just wasn't feeling my best. I felt like, oh, this is just my age, it's the age. I had gone to my general doctor and requested a blood panel and all of that, and everything was good. My numbers were amazing. They're like, there's nothing wrong with you. And then, enter you. But basically, that's how I was feeling. It's just always tired, inflammation, not in the mood for really anything. Like literally we're getting personal here, right? Our social life, our sex life, like everything was just no bueno.
Yeah, so you were feeling kind of stagnant too, just going downhill, no improvements, and yet being told that you're normal.
Yes, constantly by everyone, every single doctor that I saw.
Yeah, was this something that you've always dealt with your entire life?
No, absolutely not. I would say probably mid-30s, it's when it started hitting me. I had my daughter when I was around 30, so I've never really had any issues with my health. I never had to go to the doctor or anything like that. So it's kind of like mid-30s where it hit.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned in the past too that like at an early age they put you on birth control for heavy cycles, and you were on that for quite some time as well, right?
Correct. So I was born and raised in Romania, and that's where that happened. And one of my friends that's now my dentist here in America, she was going through medical school, and she took me to one of her doctors because my periods were so bad. I couldn't go to school. I couldn't do anything. So I was barely 13, and of course they recommended birth control pill to control that. And then I was on it all the way up to my 30s when I decided to stop because I wanted to get pregnant.
Yeah, that's something that we hear all the time too, that they're just putting women on birth control as like a Band-Aid for that. How long do you think it took until you started to see results once you started taking hormones?
Gosh, it was really, really fast for me. a couple of weeks, I would say, of just being consistent and taking everything the way you told me to take everything. I remember the joke that you threw out in a text. You were like, "Are you chasing Tony around the house yet?" And I was like, "Not yet." And then a week later, it happened. So, really, really fast. Our results really fast. Yes.
Yes, but you definitely are an amazing patient, and you followed through with what you were supposed to do and listened really well as well. So I remember when we did your follow-up labs and we were going over your blood work, you had Tony with you.
So yes, I really loved how fast everything was, like how fast I got the form to go for my blood, how fast they got them back, how fast we were able to schedule on Zoom, which, in the beginning of when Zoom started, everything, I didn't like it, but it's amazing to not have to go into an office and see a doctor, like meeting with the doctor online. And then all of your advice that you've given me, like it's completely changed my life. And um, Tony was also very impressed, and he was one that was really pushing for me to take a deeper look into what was going on. Just because, like I said, I had like no life left in me. Like I was good in the mornings, and then in the afternoons, I was like, forget it. I'm not in the mood for anything, and that completely changed. So now I'm like that Energizer bunny.
Tony still makes me laugh. I remember when we were going over your lab work that first time we did your follow up labs, we were on the phone and we were going through all your numbers and we got to your testosterone and we said what your testosterone number was. And Tony was like, wait, excuse me? What did you just say? And he was like, is that okay? We're like, yes, that's perfectly good. But it was great because you responded so well to the treatment. And like you were saying, like how fast you noticed results and what Britt was saying, just how you're such a good patient though, because besides taking all the hormones, you're also putting in all the work yourself and you're doing the things to also take care of your body and take care of yourself. And so like, that's why you've had such good results and such success with everything.
It is. Yes, you're doing all the right things.
Yes, being consistent. I mean, you can take all the supplements and all the things in the world, but if you don't work out, if you don't eat healthy, if you're not mindful of what you fill your head with every day, what you have in your home, as far as like chemicals and all of that, like it all plays a role all together. And I feel like we have found like the perfect balance because obviously my husband is now your client as well. Is that what we call it? Client, customer, patient? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Um,
all of the above.
all of the above. He was actually on testosterone before me, before you guys. And I literally had to like apologize to him because he was really feeling at his best when I was feeling at my worst. And that's a dangerous combination in a marriage. But he stuck by me and he supported me and pushed me to go look further into what's going on because nothing was normal. Like I wasn't myself in any way, shape, or form. And you guys have truly brought me back to life, like not just my marriage, but just me. So whenever people ask me, like, what have you been doing? Because obviously I'm on social media all the time. I have a presence on social media. So you can obviously see that I look different, versus a year ago. And people ask me all the time, like, what have you been doing? What are you taking? What is going on? So besides all the supplements that I take from like my company, I always send them to you guys. So you guys are like on speed dial for me.
Thank you. Your transformation has been incredible. You look amazing. And I know you've put in a lot of hard work too.
Thank you. I feel amazing. Like from inside out, I feel amazing and confident again. Like I said, I'm going to be 43 years old and I don't care. I will wear the bikini. I will wear the shorts. I will do, you know, um, maybe I shouldn't, but at my age, but I feel amazing. And I really, truly just want the same for every woman out there because I know there's a lot of women probably that suffer from all the things that I was suffering, struggling to feel like themselves again, after having kids, multiple kids. Um, and it's just funny because the medical system right now is not designed for our health. It's like all, we're not going to go into conspiracies, but they don't care about our health. They just want to put a band-aid on everything. And I feel like going through REV, I got to the root cause of the problems to where I was able to like fix what was wrong with you guys' help.
That's awesome. I love that. I love what you said too about just wanting to, help other women and show them that like they don't have to feel the way that they're feeling, and they don't have to go through life just because they're aging and getting into their 40s. You don't have to accept that that's the reality. It is the reality for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so it's really cool that you're being an advocate for that, and helping to kind of just bring awareness to other women too, because that's what we're all about. And that's kind of why we started this, was we both went through those things as well. And it's just trying to help as many people avoid that as possible.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, I recommend everybody to you guys, like, just go get your blood test done. It's not the same as whatever the doctors do. I don't know what they're testing, unicorns or something, because your numbers come out perfect, but you don't feel great. So that's why I always tell people, just go get your blood test, have a talk with them, and then figure it out, because life is too short, and we only get to be in our 40s and our 30s and our 40s for short period. Like, you blink and the time goes by so fast, and you want to just maximize your life just like everything else. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, I don't want to talk conspiracies, but the things that are like in our food, in our air, in our products, all that stuff is like affecting us. People don't really realize it. And that's why, like, I took an entire health approach, not just like myself, but also like my household. But I'm just very grateful that there's places like Rev, because like I said, you get to the root cause. You don't just put a Band-Aid on it, and you bring people back to life, and they don't even like realize how easy it is to just do that. So I'm very, very grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful for you too. And I mean,
Yes.
you were talking about the endocrine disruptors and all of the clean products that you sell and that you use yourself. And we actually did a whole podcast about endocrine disruptors a few weeks back and talked about a lot of those things. And it's funny you mentioned that a lot of people don't know that, but a lot of doctors don't even know that. I mean, if you asked a lot of doctors, like, what are endocrine disruptors, they would look at you like, what are you talking about? They've never even heard of that or know what that is. And so that does play a huge, huge role. And I know since we've met you, we've swapped out a ton of like our products that we use every day with a lot of, products that your company sells. And I mean, that kind of stuff over time compounds, and it does make a massive difference.
It does.
And a lot of times it can be very overwhelming to kind of switch out that kind of stuff too, which you made it so easy and simple for us. And you helped me so much with just making that transition. So we really appreciate you too.
Yay. I'm so happy. It's a full circle.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. We always tell people like, just, you can kind of swap things out as you go. You don't have to go in and do like this whole makeover right away and just throw away everything you have. But it's like, as you use up certain things and you replace them, and just trying to make good choices about what you're replacing those products with that you use every day, I mean, it really does make a huge impact.
Your company makes it really feasible though. It's not very expensive to go in and buy those packages when starting. So, I mean, I thought it was extremely reasonable when we first started even swapping out.
I mean, well, it's easy for me. You handle all of it. So
Yeah, he doesn't handle any of that.
Typically, it's not. Typically, it's the women. I have a few men customers as well, but I'm pretty sure they're dads and they have families, and that's why they started shopping here. But yes, you're absolutely right. If you have to go to like a store and pick out each product and read every ingredient and figure out if this is good and scan the app and do that, here everything, like, you just know, how the company works and why they exist, and they've been around for 40 years. So obviously they've been onto something before. I didn't really wake up to anything until I had my daughter. So, I mean, I was a stepmom before that, and I just kind of followed, the path that their mom was putting in place, which that's not a dig at her in any way. But then when I had my daughter, I just started noticing things, and I was like, I have got to do better. Also, because the way I grew up, in Romania, like, as third world country, we didn't have all this processed food. We didn't have GMO food. Everything was grown in the ground. Everything was from farmers. Everything was a farmer's market wherever we bought our things, and our products were clean until we started importing things from other places that were not clean. So I just feel like I grew up a certain way. Coming to America was amazing. It was my dream. It was my, like, this is where I wanted to live, and my dream came true with God's help. But I started waking up to like, oh, okay, so this is why nobody's really starving in America, right? Because of the way the food industry is and all of that. So, but then when you're born into it, you don't really see the difference. So I think a lot of people are waking up now to how products and certain foods are affecting us. And I'm glad that this administration is putting things into place for better health for America. But it is really a full circle. You can't just do one thing. You have to like go all in and not all at once, like Trav said, but you do want to go, and just change everything in your life, everything in your routine to have a healthy life and to set a good example for your children if you have children.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's interesting where we see a lot of kids that are, like late teenagers, early 20s now. And sometimes I honestly think like they've never really felt great their entire lives. Like some of these kids, like they just don't even know any better because they've been exposed to so many of these things since they've been born. And it's just like the things that they grow up with in their households and they're exposed to, that it's like they hit teenage years and then they kind of have all these health issues and different allergies and things like that. And it's like, I truly feel like there's a lot of kids that really don't know what it feels like to just feel really good and healthy. And it's sad, but I mean, I think that's a crazy reality right now.
It's really crazy. And I see it like with my kids, and obviously my 3 older kids are between 2 homes. And I'm always the mean mom, stepmom, whatever you want to call me, because I don't buy soda. I don't buy a lot of the stuff. Like we just don't have it in the house. And if you don't have it, you won't eat it. And I educate them as much as I can. So they all obviously have the products from the wellness store. That's all they use here. But it's really like, it's almost like an epidemic out there of unhealthy lifestyles. Even if you just go on social media, it's like all the products that they use and also like energy drinks and all that stuff. So I encourage my kids, they all work out, they're all in sports, and they take vitamins and they eat as healthy as possible. And I really think it's like, this is a mom revolution. Like we can do this because we're in control of what happens in our homes.
Well, it sounds like you're doing the absolute best you can do.
And you're right. It is hard when
Yes.
you're sharing kids with other people and going back between homes too. It's a challenge, even when you try your hardest. But I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. I think your story is going to speak to so many different people, men and women. Can you tell our listeners where they can find you at?
I'm most active on Instagram. My handle is Thin Blue Line Mama, MAMA, all in one word. And that's the best place to find me.
Thank you again. And thank you for joining In the Gray Area with Rev Health. Like always, please like, share, and comment, and we will see you next time. Thank you.